So in order to learn more, you can just view any of the services and you can start practicing on that. So best way to learn anything in AWS is you need to practice more. uh, yeah, so that is one of the things. So in the first section we'll go with EC2. So where if you click over here, just give me one. Yeah, so I think all of you are asking about bootcamp. So yeah, bootcamp is chargeable, and pricing I'll just let you know after that. And yeah, so let's go back to our screen, EC2 console. So yeah, so in order to get it started, you once you are in like EC2 dashboard, just click on the running instances, and then over here you will see one button called launch instance. So by clicking on this, you can start an instance. So and since we are going to use means we are going to host a WordPress, so one way to do is that you can directly install all the WordPress packages, and then you can start the server. Else what you can do is just go over here, you can search for WordPress. So all this will be available in AWS marketplace. So if you go over here, so AWS Marketplace is a place where means AWS has already built so many basically machine images, and they have hosted it over there. So you can if you can go with Bitnami WordPress certified Bitnami, and so most of the plugins will be already installed, and most of the packages will be already installed. So you need not to worry about most of the things. You can directly start your WordPress website with few clicks. So I'll show you how to do that. Just go over here, just select an image. Then it will show you on which kind of instances this basically machine image can run. So by default means T2 micro is free, so for like an year. So you can go with T2 micro if you are like means just starting, and if you are just willing to learn. So just you continue over here, then it will list out and it will show that which is free, which is eligible in free tier. So if you hover it, you can see like means complete description of this instance. And so T2 micro, just it's a one vCPUs, and it has only like means 1 GB of memory, and that is sufficient for your means a small WordPress website, and for most of the general means a small applications, this will be sufficient. So if you want to get started, just you can use this, and then you need to means go to the configuration detail. So here, if you want to like connect it with like if you want to give this instance permission to have access to another services, you can use this IAM role. You can create a no role, and you can attach that role to like IAM basically this instance. So let's say that I have already created one S3 admin, so I'll give an access to S3 admin. So means my instance will be able to communicate with all the means S3 buckets, and from there it can directly sync it. It can copy some means like files, and it can also move file from this instance to another instance. Those kind of things you can do with this roles. Okay, then next thing is just one more thing. So for example, if you want to just attach or means run some commands on your this instance, you can what you can do is you can write this command over here in user data. You can write it. So what it will do is whatever commands you have written over here, it will execute those commands line by line. So and it's like you are writing a shell script over here. So just you need to start with shebang sorry mm, user slash pin. So basically it is like binary directory like that. So you can write those things over here, and after that you can just write basically install the command, and those kind of things you can directly use. Fine. Okay, so for current purpose, I'll just leave this blank, and then we can move to add a storage section, where you can just define and means how much GB SSD, if you want, you can how much GB SSD you need, like that. So it's like how much hard drive space you will need for this complete project. And this is root directory. So if you want to have another directory, you can use it. And else means for this project, you can leave it means by default, and you can move to adding tags. So always remember, tag will be quite handy when you are analyzing your bills and all. So always have a tag over here. So I'll put as name is equal to WordPress demo. Then another thing is security group. So here you will define what kind of uh, uh, permissions are over here, and means how outer world can communicate to your EC2 instances. So for example, if you want to host this on WordPress, you need to have like HTTP and HTTPS ports open, and then if you want to SSH into this, which we will have to do, so you need to enable these ports. Another thing is just go on review and launch. If you go over here, you can directly click on this and you can launch it. Okay, so I'll acknowledge. If you want to create a new queue, you can create it, else you can means just select a key if you have created. So I have already created a key. I'll select that and then I'll launch the instance. So this instance will take some time to um, come in running stage. So meanwhile, if you have any query, you can put in chat, else we'll once move to the next part once the instance is running. For then, till then, I'll pause the sharing. So if you have any query, just let me know. I'll remove. Okay, let me go to my console. So our instance is up now. So if you click on here, you will get the detail of this instance. I'll expand it. So this is the IP where our application is running, and this is the basically DNS name on which you can find the instance. So I go over here, I'll see a WordPress website being means hosted, and this is a DNS, another way to find your application. Okay, so as you see, means your complete website is now up. Okay, so what you can do is now you can directly log in into this. So in order to log in, what you need is you need to have, what do you say, your username and password. So in order to get your username and your password, just click on this and expand this actions section, and then go to the instance setting. And if you scroll, means if you see over here, there's something called get system log. So this log has all the information of your complete, complete complete instance, whatever was running. So in this, they log your username and password. So you can find your username and password from here. Just scroll down. There will be one section where they will have logged your username and password. So this is the username. By default, your username is user and password is some dummy text. So just copy this, go to your WordPress website, go to /admin /wp admin. Okay, and then go to user and then paste your password which you have selected, and just click on login. You will be able to log in into your WordPress website. Okay, WordPress admin site. So this is how you can get your password. So till now, if you have any query, just let me know, else we'll move to the next part. For that, I'll just pause sharing and pause the recording, resume the recording, and let's go to our dashboard. Yeah, so this is like our WordPress website is up now. So now let's go to the load balancer section. But if you observe, so this is only running on one IP. So for our case, we just need this WordPress website to run on basically some another, you can say, the IP. So basically on some URL. So for that, you have to connect to your you have to SSH into that EC2, and then you have to change the bitnami file. Means basically there's a config file, wp config file, which you need to change. So if you are quite not familiar with this, you can just google about bitnami wp config. It will suggest you that bitnami. Else you can find this as an etc folder. If you go to this, you'll always find this one. Means this is quite handy. If you are quite new, just you can go to this bitnami community and you can read about it. So for further, like, if you want to dig deep, you can just go it. And this file is actually the main file where you can say that all the configuration is defined. So always means it is in general over here, basically OPT Bitnami app, then WordPress. So I'll just SSH into our instance and then I'll show you. I hope you are able to view my screen. Yeah, fine. So I'll show you how to connect to your instance. So in order to connect, first of all, you need to change mode of your PEM file. So what PEM file with which this server is attached, then you need to SSH into your instance. So all the commands are written over here. Basically, simply you can directly click on any instance, then you can click on connect and it will show you how to connect it. Now I'll go to my basically terminal. I'll paste this. Okay, let me close this. Just give me 1 second. I'm just enabling my terminal. So I'm using this one, it's a window machine for today's session. So I use a lot of instances. So I'll show you means how to do this on Windows today, and then we will basically in general I use MacBook. So for today's session I'm using Windows. So in order to do that, there's two approach. So let me share my screen again. Okay. I hope you are able to view my screen. So one way is just go to Bash. This one basically Bash on Ubuntu on Windows. Other ways you can just go with your if you have like um, Visual Code Studio, then you can directly open a terminal section, and then as terminal you can directly use it like a Linux machine. So clear it and I'll paste. Just let me copy the connect command and then we can directly connect with it. So now I'll just I'll be able to connect this to my machine. So if you see over here, it has already means given the description where you can find the document and where are the forums. So basically, as I told, when I means when this is already in your OPT folder, so just copy this place and you can uh, go to your terminal and you can change the file. So just if you go over here, try OPT Bitnami, the option Bitnami, then apps. Just give me 1 second. Let me copy this. Apps WordPress htdocs. Apps WordPress htdocs. Okay. If you go over here, you will find one WP config file and a lot of files which are all for your WordPress which are required. So just go to this just nano, and then you can go to WP config, and then you can just scroll down. You can find means all the information related to this instance. So there'll be one basically one deep basically host name over in this file where you need to change. So for example, over here it is written that server HTTP host name is over here, right? So what you can do is just change this host name to whatever instance you want to map, and then your instance will start running. So in order to do that, just what we'll do is we will create one load balancer. Then we'll come to this section and we'll edit this part, and our basically server will start running on that port also. Means that URL will be allowed. Okay. So if you have any query till now, just let me know. Else we'll move to that part. We'll launch a load balancer. Then we'll see how to means connect to that instance. Okay. If you have any query, just let me know. I'll pause my screen for now till then. Okay. I think there's an option below. Yeah, means basically there's an option to log case. So let me show you how you can do that. Let me go back to my so if you go over here on your basically AWS console, and at the end you will find support. So in this there is support center where you can just log your information, basically log your cases. Here you can directly click create case and you can basically create your case. So let me go back to our load balancer session. Okay. So in order to create a load balancer, you just need to scroll down over here. You'll find a load balancer, load balancing section where you'll find load balancers, and you can create a load balancer. So there will be 3 flavors available. So one will be application load balancer, another one is network load balancer, and third one is classic. So means you can avoid the classic one, and because as I told, means it's not of means it's like directly dividing the load by percentage wise, and it doesn't know about means the health of your application. However, application load balancer is quite more advanced, and it knows which instance is healthy and where it should redirect the traffic. So you can think of it's an intelligent one, and means you need to choose basically application load balancer. It will help means make your life quite easier, uh, but the only limitation of this one is it doesn't support TCP. So it will be good if you are going with like HTTP and HTTPS, those kind of load. If you want to balance, it will be quite useful. Else you will have to go with classic load balancer. Okay. And network load balancer is like means totally different from our use case. So it will be good for your TCP, as you can see over here, TCP, TLS, and UDP. So depending on protocols, you can select one of these types. So, but first preference for HTTP and HTTPS should be application load balancer. Okay, so I'll create one load balancer. You can name your load balancer and anything. So I'll just write AWS demo. Then you can choose which AZs this load balancer means will be using. So always try to distribute as much AZs as you can, so that means this will help you in designing a fault tolerant architecture. So as you can see, I have selected more than one. Then for our purpose, I think we'll just go with the HTTP load. So we'll means only have one protocol, and that will be HTTP. Then you can tag it, and you can move to security group. Okay, we don't have SSL, that's fine. You can create a new security group, or you can use a new basically existing security group. So for this session, let me create a new one. So when you are creating, just make sure that means that port with which you need to communicate to the load balancer is allowed or not. So for example, if you remove this port 80, then there's no sense of having a load balancer, because it will be not able to communicate to the outer world. So for our case, just will enable this. So port 80 is there. Then just go to configure routing. So here you need to create a target group. So basically target group will have certain instances attached to it, and your load balancer will check from that target group, and the target group will be basically means having multiple instances. So I'll create one target group, and I'll name it as AWS demo. Okay, if you want to have like health checks, you can enable it. So it's always good to change this to a path which you want to map, and these are like thresholds. So for example, means now in order to decide that this instance has gone down, these thresholds will be quite healthy and quite handy. So for example, means if you look over here, so there's means basically it will take this much time to basically means this much count to decide whether that instance is healthy or not. And this one is the means number of counts in which will decide that this instance has become unhealthy. For example, if you have like defined a path like slash, so over here it will hit that path, and for example the instance is not responding with 200, then it will decide that the instance is not healthy if for consecutive 2 times your instance returns any response other than 200. Okay. However, when your instance continuously respond like for 5 times that means response with response code 200, then that instance will be considered as healthy. Okay. So yeah, let me go to the review section. Yeah, and here you can add your listeners. So I'll add my this WordPress demo section, and I'll move to the review section. So here you can see whatever you have entered, you can review it, and then you can create a load balancer. So it will take some time. Meanwhile, if you have any question, you can ask. If you see lot of, sorry, you can find a lot of data. So you can use this monitoring. So basically it's CloudWatch metrics. So this tool is used to monitor means what the health of your application is, how much means 500 errors are coming, how much five means basically four, not four errors are coming. Those kind of things you will find over here. So if you have any query till now, just ping me, I'll answer that. Then we'll move to the next section. Let me resume. So let's go back to our load balancer section. So as you can see, now our DNS name is different. Just if you go to the description part of your load balancer, you see that your now DNS name is different. So I'll copy this and I'll go to my basically WP config and I'll change that to the DNS which it should redirect. HTTP host. Let me see if I have defined anything or not. Okay, DB host, WP config. This one is site URL. So if you go over here, I have written server host as this one. So here I'll directly paste that URL and I'll save it. I've saved that, and now we need to restart our Apache so that the complete configuration starts running. So I think if you have any query, just let me know, else we'll start it and we'll just see what is happening over there. Okay, you guys are okay. So let me do it again. So okay, so if you go means I hope you are able to view my screen. So just go to your basically terminal and then over into your WP config file and then means just add that site URL over here. Just scroll down and you will find one site this one's server HTTP host. So here you can write your configuration and it will start running over there. Okay, just after that you need to exit. Then you need to what do you say, you need to restart your Apache server over here, and then your complete means application will be means get reflected whatever you have changed. So those things you will see over there. So in order to do that, just I'll show you means whether means that is up or not. So just copy it over here and go into terminal, just paste it as yeah. So now by default it changed. Otherwise, you if it is not being reflected, you can directly change that what do you say? You can change that IP address. Sorry, you need to restart your Apache server. Okay. So now let me, for example, let me go over here and let me block this IPs from being accessed. And I'll show you that still your load balancer will be working. So that thing is quite required if you want to secure your infrastructure. So just go to your EC2 dashboard, just go to running instances, then select the instance which you are running, just scroll right and go to your security group. And in this, go to inbound traffic. And over here, you can see that a lot of things are allowed. So now what I'll do is I'll just remove this and then I'll allow only to that security group that is attached to our load balancer. So our load balancer is attached to this security group, the first one, SG002. In order to understand with which security group your load balancer is attached, what you can do is, let me open this in new tab. You can go to the load balancer section You can view the load balancer with which you're working. You can scroll down and you will find one security group section over here, and you can click on this. You'll find the security group at which it is attached to. Okay, so I'll just copy the security group. I'll go to my EC2, basically EC2 security group, and which is the WordPress one, and I'll edit and I'll paste like this one, like only from load balancer. Okay, I'll remove the HTTPS one. I'll save the instance. So what I did is, so I'm only allowing port 80 to be connected from the load balancer, and I'm blocking any other connection from the outer world. So if I refresh this, so it will continue, means it will keep on, just requesting, and it will time out. However, our load balancer will be running, as you see, right? Means it is running. However, it is like means continuously fetching, and it will time out. So this way, as you see, right, means it can't reach that. So this way, what I did was, now every traffic will be driven from my load balancer. No traffic will be driven from the ports. So from the to the IP directly. So this way, I'm just securing my complete infrastructure from public access. Only load balancer is allowed to communicate to my instance. So this is quite important if you are designing a secure infrastructure, and it will be quite handy. Okay. So if you have any query till now, just let me know, else we'll move to the next section. Okay, then let's move to the next section. I think we have crossed 10. So let's move to the CloudFront. So I'll show you just CloudFront is available in network section. So in order to, if you are quite new, just you can search over here. Else you can scroll down and go to the CloudFront section. And in order to connect WordPress with CloudFront, you have to forward all the cookies. So I'll create a new distribution. I'll go to the web distributions. I'll create origin. So we have, I think, it is loading the origin. So you'll find a load balancer. So for example, this one, demo. So what I'll do is I'll just write it like this. And if you are like confused, or if you are new, just you can hover this on this eye icons, and it will show you what each field means. Okay. So by default, I'll leave it blank. I'll use matching protocols. Okay. And then I'll scroll down. Here, since your website is WordPress, so you need to allow all the HTTP methods, else you will be not able to log in into your WordPress website from this from this CloudFront. And also you need to allow all your basically all your caching headers, and you need to forward all cookies to your basically forward all cookies to your load balancer. So for that, you need to provide basically enable this one. What do you say? Just forward cookies. You need to make it all. If you want to provide a smooth streaming, you can go ahead. You don't need restricted viewers. So basically, restricted viewer is when you want to allow this to be accessible with signed URL. Else means you can't directly access to this URL. Okay. Then for now, I'll just leave rest of the things as plan, means as default, and I'll create a distribution. So distribution creation generally takes some time. So for till our distribution becomes enabled, I'll stop sharing, and if you have any query, just let me know.